Welcome to Overdrive AF, the official podcast of Overdrive Fitness. My name is Teddy Gerzon, and I'm joined by Gina Marie Gerzon.
What's up?
Also with us, as always, Destroyer, and then Titan and Brajol. All right, so it's the day after Friday the 13th. The Gestapo is in full effect. They've set a curfew in New York, and curious to see how that's going to affect specific villages in Brooklyn, New Square, Curious Joel. We'll see what happens. All right, so anyway, let's get your weekly update, jump shot, and mileage covered.
The jump shot looked good again. It didn't lead to any horse wins, but it led to two very close games again. So I think, maybe 1 or 2 more weeks getting back at it might help. And then 18 miles only, but a few good at-home workouts.
That's great, though.
Nice.
Yeah.
So very, very balanced week.
Nice.
All right, so how hard were you trying in those wins?
Well, I always like to let them get out to the early lead so that I can, make the comeback, make it interesting, extend the game a little bit, and then maybe when I get a little too confident at the end, or sometimes too desperate, going for the crazier shots. It's also that he's got such bigger and longer arms than I do.
Damn it!
That he can launch it from so much further away without trying nearly as hard as I have to. So I think that's why I really need to start whatever plan you guys have, so that I can truly bulk up, so that I can just be chucking.
You're just gonna
him
knock
from,
him over.
50 feet.
Yeah, we got to create more lower body power.
Exactly.
Yeah, everyone knows that the jump shot relies heavily on the lift.
Yeah.
So we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Now,
I need to be able to dunk so that we can just start doing that.
yeah, and if I were you, I would keep a lot of that on the DL.
Yeah.
Because you want to make this interesting.
Yeah.
So there needs to be some sort of monetary wager starting to be placed on these things, and one would call you the Minnesota Fats of 2020. So if you don't know who that is, then I suggest you Google him and then watch the respective movie to go along with that. And you guys will thank me for that.
More homework, does he?
Yeah. For sure.
Have you heard of Minnesota Fats?
No.
Oh, I think you'll enjoy.
I have a feeling. It'll lead to some good inspiration.
Any guess as to the realm of what I'm talking about?
Is it a white man can't jump thing?
I guess you can kind of say it's in the same type of category.
Yeah.
It was definitely a white man.
Okay.
But
When you say Minnesota, that's the first thing I think of.
so that was his nickname. He was a pool hustler, billiards hustler.
Okay.
And then some would basically say that the sequel to that was The Color of Money with Tom Cruise and Paul Newman.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, so yeah, it's which was also a great movie, one of my favorites. But Color of Money would have never happened if there was no Minnesota Fats. So
I'll get
yeah.
on it.
You'll pack these colder days with some awesome movies on your to-do list.
For sure.
Titan's posing again.
Yeah. Anybody that's not sure what we're talking about, was it just on your Instagram or on the OD one too?
No, I think I put on mine.
Yeah, so it was on Gina's Instagram, and Titan was sitting in a position that made his behind look like the peach emoji, because he is, as Dylan Reynolds would say, dumb thick with 2 C's.
Junk in the trunk.
Yes. So, yeah, awesome. 18 miles.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah. Not as much as I typically like, but there's still time today, tomorrow to.
I mean, today's beautiful.
Run that number up.
Considering we had some crappy weather.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who. I never enjoyed running in that kind of weather, like what we've had the past couple of days. But today is beautiful.
Yeah.
A little chilly, but sun is out, breeze. You're good.
Yep.
So yeah, it's definitely starting to get cooler.
It was like fall.
I've already played the Mariah Carey Christmas song for a bunch of my athletes, specifically at Stack. We had to water down the previous playing of WAP right before that, so we did a complete 180.
Oh my.
But yeah, no, it is starting to get a little brisk in New York. So that being said,
Was it the instrumental version or the full-fledged version?
it was the lounge version by Richard Cheese.
Oh.
Have you heard that one?
The lounge version of WAP.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of variations.
It's
of it.
way better than the original.
You played that one for them?
I trust.
Yeah, because
Seriously?
A-Rod was like, she's like, they need to hear it. I was like, well, then put it on your speaker, because they normally have a Bluetooth going.
Right.
And all the girls, they all forgot their Bluetooth. There was like 2 or 3 girls that usually bring one.
Oh, so you went from that to Mariah Carey Christmas?
Well, I was like, luckily, I keep a Bluetooth speaker in my book bag.
It's a very wide range.
And then I was like,
Gotta cleanse
boom.
the palate a little bit.
Yeah,
What?
You
seriously.
gotta cleanse the palate a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, put something more acceptable in church,
Yeah.
especially at a Catholic school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Were they laughing? Absolutely. I had the team nearly in
Tight end?
tears. So there's
People walking outside.
somebody walking outside. Yeah, but Chip was just here. So.
Tight end. Come on, lay down, please. You have to wait. It's like, I want to be on camera. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, today we are going over another fat loss myth, and that is the myth of low-calorie diets are the only way to lose weight. Now, that is a head-scratcher, and I mean, we can go down many paths with debunking this. So, I mean, I'll start off with one simple one. So, when it comes to explaining how our online programming works, as far as the nutrition end, what I always tell people is that there's nothing to fear when it comes to being coached on nutrition with us, because we are not the type of gym that's going to tell you that in order to hit your goal weight, you need to chew on ice chips and drink a gallon of lemon water all day. Believe it or not, that's not something that I made up, because there are diets like that out there that are basically like starve yourself, do a 10-day cleanse of putting cayenne pepper in a gallon of water and only survive on that. So it's how do I say it in the most scientific way? It's complete bullshit. What's one of your takes on
I
this?
have nothing against putting a little lemon in water. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's the way it's done. It's the context within, right?
Yeah, to only consume that.
Yeah, no. So at the end of the day, everybody's body produces a certain amount of energy, and at the end of the day, we all burn a certain amount of calories per day just to allow us to survive. Those basic needs, right? Everything for all of our bodily functions to happen. We need food in order for those things to continue, right? We also have body fat that we use as energy, yeah? So as long as we are taking in the appropriate amount of calories, and then in ratios of those calories, proteins, carbs, and fats, as long as we are eating slightly under, say, what we're burning on an active day, then we will lose weight and body fat. That's pretty basic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the way when people enter into these phases, well, I'm just going to eat 500 calories a day, or all I'm going to eat is just some vegetables and fruits. And I mean, those are all great things, but we need to incorporate a nice combination of foods to allow our bodies to function properly and still lose body fat. And why not throw in some added strength in while we do go into this kind of fat loss phase. I don't know what.
I mean, how How often does it happen where somebody starts up a nutrition plan with us, and after even as little as a day, but usually after like 2 to 3 days, they say to us, "I can't get all my food in. I can't. I don't know
Oh
how I'm
my
going to
God,
get all
all
this
the
food
time.
in." And
All the
that's, and they're supposed to be, and they're in a cut, right? And they're like, "I can't get this food in. I don't know. It's so much food." And then what happens? They lose like 4 pounds the first week. And they're like,
I'm not even concerned about that. Sometimes their weight actually goes up and their body fat shoots down.
yeah,
That's what I really want to see, because your whole activity, your whole metabolic activity is changing. All of your organs are starting to function differently. They're actually starting to speak to each other, and there's an actual orchestra happening within your body that, okay, dude, you do this and you do that, and then I'll do that and you do that, and then wait for me, I'll signal you to do that. Like, that's basically what's happening, and everything starts to run more efficiently. You start to sleep better. You start to have more energy. You're naturally more thirsty. You want to start to drink more water. You start to crave better foods. You're hungrier more often. And at the end of the day, your pant sizes are going down. Your dress sizes are going down. You're feeling stronger in your lifts. And you're not crashing in the middle of the day and need 5 cups of coffee. And there's nothing wrong with caffeine. Caffeine's actually an excellent addition to the day and a great strength training regimen. But at the same time, we shouldn't have to rely on it to keep us awake. You know?
yeah. Caffeine should be like a boost to your energy, not your source of energy, which should be coming from
It's
your
an
nutrition.
amplifier. It does help, wake your central nervous system up a little bit. It does a lot of really good things for your body within doses, proper doses. But we get that all the time. It's not even just the adults, it's the athletes too, that maybe they're not eating breakfast, or they're not eating until the afternoon. They're going 6 to 8 hours all through school, and they're not eating anything until the afternoon. And we've talked about this so many times. And the adults too. Oh, well, I never eat breakfast. I usually don't eat till lunch. And without getting too crazy into the types of diets out there, but they're not used to eating this much food. They might eat 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day, and most of the time it's not put together very well, and then they end up waking up ravenous, or they're starving when they go to bed, and then they end up eating junk. That's what ends up happening. Well, I'm not seeing the scale's not moving. Well, what are you doing? I haven't lost any weight, or maybe they're losing weight, but their body fat is shooting up. That's the worst thing. That we don't want that to happen either, because then your body composition is going in the opposite direction.
It's like I was saying, like, it's more often than not, I would say probably 95% of the time someone starts a nutrition plan with us, they wind up eating more and losing weight. I mean, they most people that start with us, they barely eat, and then they just try to work it all off. But I mean, eventually your body's gonna figure out how to just get by on 800 calories that you think you should be eating, when probably should be eating almost double that, right? Especially if you're like 240. I don't know how some people think that it's okay to basically starve themselves all day. And that's another thing, speaking of the word starve. Like, yes, you definitely need to eat in a deficit when trying to lose weight, lose body fat, right? But all too often will somebody say to us, oh, I think I gained the weight this week because I didn't get all my food in and my body went into starvation mode. I mean, is starvation mode a real thing? Yes. But, I mean, if you're pissing and shitting in clean water every fucking morning, and you can go to a grocery store and grab whatever you want off the shelf at any given time of the fucking day and week, then you're in a first world country, and you're probably not susceptible to a true starvation mode. It's not going to happen because you didn't get all your calories in the course of 24 hours. All right? You're surrounded by the ability the privilege to feed yourself. So the starvation mode shit needs to stop. It's like, it's mathematically and scientifically impossible to really happen when you live in the United States. I mean, the food is everywhere. Like, even if you only had 50 cents, you can go to the fucking gas station and get something there.
You're fasting when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
If your last meal, let's just say you go to bed at 10 o'clock and your last meal is at 8 o'clock or even 9 o'clock or whatever. If you're sleeping 6 to 8 hours, you're not eating anything within that time. Your body is digesting, though, the food that it had just eaten prior to you going to sleep. That's why it's important for us to eat every several hours, 3 to 5, 4 to 6, whatever. We want that energy, we want that food, those amino acids and all the good stuff traveling through our bloodstream. So we constantly have that supply of nutrients. You want to make good choices, though. You know?
You definitely want to eat in a deficit when you're cutting, right? But don't save all those, like, don't sleep until noon. Expect to see some sort of lean mass gain and fat mass loss, and then call your high protein meal that is actually just a protein shake of 3 scoops of protein powder. Like, I mean, I don't even know how you're able to shit if that's the case.
That'd probably run right through you, not for anything.
Yeah.
Most people, I think.
Or back you up. Like those, what was that diet in the 80s? It was basically all protein powder. You would get it and it was like...
Well, I never heard of this one.
Yeah, I've had clients tell me it was basically like 3 packets of protein powder that you would have to, like, those are like your 3 main meals for the day. And the problem was everyone was like, yeah, the calories made sense. But turns out there was 0 fiber in these diets. So, you know, guys that took it like hardcore and never ate vegetables in general and just did this, I mean, it was basically like they had a styrofoam block stuck in their colon. They had to go to the hospital to get it released. I'm not even making this story up. I know the exact member that told me this because he did it himself. But I'm not going to blow him up on this podcast right now. Yeah, I'll tell you right after this is over. I know. I remember him saying it to me, and I was like...
so much other crazy stuff out there.
Bro, isn't that how John Wayne died?
Mm-hmm.
You're like a mile of impacted shit. Meat and potatoes.
Yep.
I mean, to go off topic a little bit, but like, shameless plug. I mean, that in and of itself is one of the reasons why Prestige Labs made the Bulletproof Vitality for Men. It was formulated not only for prostate health, but knowing that most men don't get their vegetables in. It's just a fact. So, I mean, your brother is definitely one of them. Getting him to eat broccoli is like, you know.
And just fiber in general, like, you know, getting your oatmeal in and your different types of fruits and, you know, the sweet potatoes and, you know, butternut squash and things, I don't know, you know, things like that where you think they're finding that your gut health is a direct link to your brain health and your immune system. So, and we release so much serotonin through the gut, like just by the assimilation, like, so the absorption of food and nutrients. That's why, you know, getting your vegetables and your fruits in, getting your fiber in general is so important to your body's health from top to bottom. Your total immune system function. You'll just be a happier person.
And if you need the calories, right? So that number has to be set on the individual, based on the individual. So think of it this way. Do you want to be able to eat a decent amount of food? In most cases, for people that work with us, it's a lot more food than they thought they would be getting. You want to eat a good amount of food and then achieve your goal weight with a solid amount of lean mass because you're increasing your metabolism and feeling good? Or do you want to just hit that weight number but feel miserable because you're feeding yourself basically nothing but now all of a sudden you have body dysmorphia because the scale reads what you want, but your performance is absolute shit. So it's like feed yourself and be the shit, or don't feed yourself and look like shit. I mean, you decide what you want to do. We're here to help you. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the record shows for itself. I just love hearing from people that, so Gina does all the nutrition here. And then, like, let's say I'm running one of the early morning classes, and someone that's doing nutrition with Gina will just say to me, like, I'll be like, hey, how's your weekend? They're like, it's crazy. Like, I know I'm losing weight and body fat. It's like every time I get off the scale, it's awesome. The in-body machine is great. But, sometimes I'm like, how am I going to get all this food in? I'm like, just find a fucking way. Like, isn't that awesome? You're having a hard time trying to get all the food in, but you're hitting your numbers, your target goals and everything, like at a rapid speed. Like, what else could you ask for?
It's allowing you to turn up the dial, slowly. It's gradual. It's never just, full speed ahead. It's a gradual shift. And what's nice is they learn how to eat properly for a lifetime. These are really good habits that they're imprinting in their brain, and their body starts to get used to this healthier style of living. It becomes cemented, in their daily. Just like we set our alarm at night. We have this many hours of sleep. We get up, we hear our alarm, we go brush our teeth, use the restroom, take a shower, make our breakfast, or whatever. However your morning rituals go, they become, cemented into your daily life. It's really, really important for people to get into these good habits. You start, just like good habits, there's bad habits. Bad habits can get just as easily cemented into your lifestyle. Just brings you down a different path. Most of the time, they have really poor results.
I mean, to put it in perspective, I mean, just knowing that the deficit is the most important thing, right? Not an extreme deficit, just a deficit in general. And it's got to be set accordingly, right? To the individual, their behaviors, what's going to set them up for success. So it's a deficit. It's not an extremely low amount of calories, the deficit. Now, with that being said, consistency is what's most important after the deficit, right? So knowing that you should always be eating a certain amount of food regardless of the phase that you're in, maintenance, cutting, bulking, whatever it may be, right? That will affect your metabolism over time. Now, the longer you are consistent with this, right, the greater the outcome. Meaning, Gina is like, I'm not going to give your exact weight unless you choose to, but you're
120.
Gina's 120. You're 5'2".
Oh,
You're not a large person at all, right? You are small.
I can hover between 120 and 125. Just depends on where I am in my phase too. Like it.
Very lean. Very strong. All right. I mean, when you bench, you're repping a plate. So, like, let's just put that into perspective, right? Just the bench alone, right? So that's where Gina is, right? So, now, the amount of calories that you take on a cut alone it's like 500 calories more than some of our like 180, 200 pound people would have, when they cut, or even when they're on maintenance. And why is that? It's because the consistency over time is going to allow you to eat food, like eat more food than you would originally think. Like, people have these weird numbers in their head because it's like the dietary guideline says a diet should be 2,000 calories a day. Like, how that number was created and why it's the staple for everybody is just beyond me. I have no idea.
Well, and I love our in-body machine too, because it allows us to be even more specific and even more accurate, regardless of all the calculations that we do and the consultation that we give to our athletes and our members when they decide to go through the nutritional component. It allows me to get really specific with our members and our athletes, depending upon the day, depending on the amount of activity, the type of activity, how stressful their day is, and all the other questions that we ask. And it yields the results that they're looking for. They have to trust the process. And the point is when we start to implement these changes, it might not be macros that we follow. It might just be portions that we follow. And when we say, okay, so you feel like you want to have Burger King for dinner and you want to go grab yourself a Whopper with a large fry and a soda or whatever. So, like I say, okay, can you get a side salad or can you make a salad at home? And what ends up happening is, okay, they eat their burger, they eat their fries, but no, you got to just make sure you eat your salad. Promise me that you'll just start to incorporate maybe a salad with your lunch and your dinner. And what starts to happen is they inevitably begin consuming less calories just naturally because they are bringing in so much more volume of those vitamins and minerals within that salad, that roughage, those raw and cooked veggies and fruits even, that maybe they're not eating quite as many fries, or you know what, maybe I took half of the bun off of the burger because I was starting to get full. Like, you just don't realize that you start making these little changes, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I lost 2 pounds. Well, my body fat went down 0.5%, and that was maybe even in the first week. I mean, that's excellent progress.
Mm-hmm.
Even 0.5% of body fat in the first 2 weeks is excellent progress. Point is we want to keep moving forward. We want to allow your body to understand what changes are going on and be accepting of the transformation that's starting to go on within, because then all the more reason for it to want to continue, because it starts to respond in a much healthier way. Instead of these crazy crash diets where, oh my God, I'm only going to eat 500 calories and I'm going to do 2 hours of cardio a day, and I'll take a class in the morning and a class at night, or I'm going to go run and then I'm going to take a class at night, or I'm going to do another video at night. No, that doesn't have to happen. Let's be smart about it. Maybe it doesn't have to be calories even. It could just be like, let's just start making better choices, and inevitably that's what happens is you start to consume less calories naturally, and you're actually enjoying the types of foods that you're eating. We're not saying to give anything up. We're just saying start to think about what you're putting in your body, and again, making your health a priority and see what happens.
And we recently had somebody, they just stopped logging their food, and then that's when the success actually started to happen. Because for that specific individual, I think the logging his food was causing too much stress, and it was leading to basically indecision.
I think it was also a dishonesty there.
Oh yeah.
Because they didn't want to be accountable at that moment or acknowledge the fact that they were eating too much of one thing and not enough of the other.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so in that 1 week, since he dropped it, he 1.3% body fat, dropped 1.3% body fat and almost 2 pounds.
That's fabulous.
Just one simple change. And I was like, so what was the biggest change you made besides not logging? He was like, well, since I stopped logging, I was able to make better choices. I was just like, all right, I need to up the protein clearly because I keep coming up short on it. So I added at this point and this point, and then that kept me from craving bad stuff after dinner. And that's such a simple change. That's all we ask for. We want people's nutrition to be realistic and in line with their daily lives. As long as it doesn't revolve around a dozen donuts and wings and beer every single day.
Mm-hmm. And there's no reason why we can't include those at some point.
Just not copious amounts of it every day.
We're not saying eat the whole dozen. Maybe we are sometimes. I don't know, depending upon if Teddy's in a refeed or not. No, I'm just joking.
I'm just mindlessly eating most of the time.
You want to think about, taking the time, giving yourself that 15, 20 minutes to sit and decompress and enjoy your food, chew your food, let your body do what it needs to do to assimilate the food, to absorb those nutrients, hydrate, and then you can go about your day. But just like we give ourselves the time to do other things, give yourself the time to actually eat and nourish yourself.
Chuck Norris.
Nourish.
Is that how the late Sean Connery would say it?
Shish.
Shut your mouth, sounds stupid.
3 Christmases, right? Was it 3 Christmases?
4 Christmases.
4 Christmases. I'm gonna do it too. Swaddle that baby.
That was a great movie. It's that time of year that we start watching that again.
Shish.
Speaking of watching, Destroyer, anything that you've been watching lately on the streaming platforms?
I've been between shows. I'm just hitting up a lot of like old stuff, some stuff that like I watched as a kid to see if it's still good.
Oh yeah?
Malcolm in the Middle holds
Oh my
up.
God! Wow.
But yeah, I'm considering a few different paths, but nothing consistently right now.
Yeah, there's nothing really out there that's like grabbing my attention.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, hey, I need to see this. I mean, we're not done with New Girl yet, so
I've been told that
we still enjoy that.
I don't know. I like the newer Jess more than the older. Like I like the. It's still funny. It is still hysterical and funny, and I don't know. I feel like the first several seasons of it, I think I was enjoying parts of it more than the latter of the seasons. I don't know. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, no, it's
still hysterical.
They went all out with her cringiness, if that's a word, in the most recent, the latter seasons.
I think she's kind of feeling herself. In the latter parts. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
What else have we been watching? Oh, we watched what was it, Hubie's Halloween? One of the Adam Sandler Netflix movies.
Oh my God.
We had to change it up, so we're like, let's just throw this on. And then we rebooted The Office.
Cool.
So.
A classic.
I mean, one of the things that I just finished up was there was only 2 seasons of it, but it was like basically a behind the scenes of the Formula One, the last 2 seasons, because I'm huge fan of Formula One, but I don't know. Unfortunately, that series is over.
You know what? We didn't bring up Jason.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess we do have some big news. How could we forget?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could forget because it's not that important. It's super important.
Yeah, it's really important.
It's gigantic news. See what I did right there? See what I did right there? So those of you been following, the journey of one of our longtime athletes, now professional athlete, Jason Vosler, he recently, and that's probably why I did forget, because like I kind of pushed it away. He gave me the heads up before it happened. He's like, please don't tell anybody. I'm like, yeah, I won't tell anybody. Gina, guess what?
Well, I mean...
No, he knows I'm going to tell you, but this is funny. So I was like, Titan, guess what?
I can't tell mommy.
So Jason Vosler is the newest member of the San Fransisco Baseball Giants. So yeah, Jason signed a big league contract, his first big league contract, this in the past few days. I think it was 3 days ago, something like that. But yeah, so he's officially on the 40-man roster, and I mean, obviously we're ecstatic just in general because, he was able to achieve one of his goals, and that's become a Major League Baseball player. So, but another reason why I'm super excited, and we all are, is because, it's pretty obvious. Like, it's 2020, right? It wasn't a normal year for anything in any way. So, Jason spent, so this is what happened. They started the year, he had spring training, right? Killed it. I'll just say it, but like he had told me that this was the best spring training he's had. He had never felt so strong, so athletic, so powerful. This is the best he's ever felt, ever, going into it. And I guess it's a pat on the back for myself, if you want to even say that, because he did train here all off season, right? So whatever, that's not the point. So the point is that awesome spring training, COVID hits, everyone's sent home, and he was with the Padres at the time, so he surprisingly did well in the eyes of the organization because he's a third baseman, so he was behind Manny Machado. There was no way he was going to get any time ahead of him or their first baseman, Hosmer. So, what happened was he lit it up, and they almost didn't know where they were going to put him. So they were like, all right, when everything starts back up, because they sent him home, right? So basically anybody that had a definite job was already on the Major League roster. But he was in a position, he did so well, the organization, they didn't see it coming, really. So they didn't know what to do with him. They didn't have a spot for him. So they were like, okay. So when spring training reboots, whenever the world feels like baseball is ready to come back, you'll have a spot. He didn't have a spot. And then they canceled all minor league baseball. So it's not like he was like, okay, I'm not in the Major League roster, I'll go to AAA. I'll go back to El Paso. That wasn't the case. All minor league baseball players were just basically told, unless they played in independent baseball, they were like, right, you're done for the year. You got nothing. Then luckily he was called up a month or two into the rebooted season and was sent to San Diego for their satellite squad, and kind of like their practice squad, right? So he stayed in the city. He had to keep himself ready. But after that, I mean, he got no major league at bats this year, nothing. So no one was expecting that he would get a contract offer for a major league contract offer after the season. I mean, him and I had spoken throughout the season, and it was usually like, yeah, so I mean, I'll be a free agent in the winter, and I'll go wherever anybody gives me a contract, basically, because there was nothing to expect. And then he reached out to me a week or two ago, and had said like, dude, I'm gonna be signing with the Giants. Don't say anything. I was like, what? And yeah, so he is on his way to San Francisco.
He's awesome. He deserves it. He really does. He's such a great person. So humble.
Mm-hmm.
And a hard worker.
So yeah, you guys will be seeing and hearing from him pretty soon, because Jason will be making a second guest appearance on Overdrive AF pretty soon. I mean, his agent and my agent have to get together and collaborate our schedules. So you guys will just stay tuned. You'll see.
You'll call him with like a different accent.
Yeah. I'm going to call him from my landline.
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I'll speak to him in Spanish through Google Translate.
There you go.
Perfect.
Press 1.
So yeah, super pumped
That's the
for
big
Jason
news.
Vosler. And it's another thing is too, it's like from what I've been reading and picking up, because he told me he's ecstatic. That's where it is, right? But all the beat writers are saying, he'll be rotating in at third and possibly second. They signed him as an infielder, so he pretty much can rotate anywhere along the infield, especially with Evan Longoria getting a little older, who plays third base for the Giants. He'll be able to spell him for certain games. Then he could rotate in at second. So I mean, it's a perfect situation for him. Who doesn't need a lefty bat with some power on their bench, right? So this is great. Hard work pays. Jason Vosler getting the bag.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if Destroyer taught him how to shoot a jump shot this offseason.
My God.
He could just stay in San Fran and play for Golden State.
I know.
Perfect. I'm declaring for the draft late. Like 1 week before.
I'm a write-in pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, congrats, Jason.
Definitely. I'm excited for him. He'd be a two-sport athlete there, you see?
What else? What else do we got?
I think that might be it. I don't know.
It's hard to top that.
Yes.
No, we can't top that. We're not going to try. So
We don't have any dog news now. I mean, that might top that, but we don't have. No.
And yeah, I'm trying to think. There is no dog news. Not this time. But yeah, I think that about wraps up this episode of Overdrive AF. Anything else you guys want to add or say?
Stay tuned for Desi's transformation then. I think that's going to be happening. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. We're going to document that. He's going to wear a GoPro everywhere. With a good mic. I want to hear everything.
Oh, God.
Headset.
Yeah.
Double camera.
And be like, listening in. Nice. He's a courtesy flusher.
Oh, Jesus.
A lot of respect for the people around him. He's a gentleman.
I need that extra pressure on my lip.
Yeah.
Constantly surveying.
And on that note, Teddy.
On that note, we will catch you guys next time on another episode of Overdrive AF.